I understand what it's like to be a teacher. I taught for 25 years. I do really look good, don't I? Now that you know that, you're like, oh, what is her secret? Look at her skin. Ooh. And she's still smiling. That's the thing. And look, when I taught all grade levels, and I had at least 10 years in alternative ed. Somebody said, Who said that? Who said, Was that you?
It was me.
Was that you?
It was me.
Why did you say,
Just because I know it can be a challenge.
What do you know about alternative ed?
I don't really. I've never taught alternative ed, but I've coached.
Yes.
As well as taught.
Yes.
And I.
You do know about alternative ed, because when I said alternative ed, you said, So you really do know.
Maybe I do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alternative ed. That's the place they go once they've been kicked out of regular school.
Right.
Okay? And so within that arena, I took all the kids that nobody else wanted. Y'all are looking at me like, ooh, something must be crazy about her. So you know how it is when you go in the teacher's lounge and you start talking about them. You know. Why y'all looking at me like you don't know what I'm talking about? You know when you go in there and you start talking about those. You know, the ones who you prepare that lesson. You know, you really put your all into preparing that lesson. And you get in that classroom and you're ready. And all of a sudden, the kids are coming in and you look at the door and there he is. And you're like, dang, why'd you have to come today? Why y'all got quiet? Like, you never feel like that. You know you feel like that. You're human. There's a few kids that show up and you be like, well, I had a whole classroom full of those. So why would I do something like that? Are any of you wonder, do you want to know why I did that? Does anybody want to raise your hand? Because I won't tell you if you don't want to know. Okay. Let me tell you why I did that. They found me cooking for myself when I was 2. When I was 5, I was abducted and talked the man into letting me go. You see why I'm a professional speaker and trainer? When I was 6, my mother tried to commit suicide and I knew what she was doing. When I was 11, I came home just in time to stop her second suicide attempt. I know what it feels like not to be wanted. Because see, when you're 11 and 6 and that kind of stuff happens, you interpret it as something wrong with you. You know, well, what's wrong with me? How come you don't want to be here and, stay here with me? And so that's what I did. I interpreted it as something being wrong with me. I'm not wanted. And then when I was 15, she died. The hospital killed her. So I was sentenced to foster care, and I bounced from foster home to foster home. So I know what it feels like not to be wanted. So I didn't want any kids to feel like they weren't wanted. So I decided to take them. Now, I believe that I am doing what I'm doing because this is my calling. I have answered my calling. And I believe that everything I've gone through in my life, and I just gave you a little bit. I had issues. You know that. Just based on what I told you about what happened to me as a child, and a teenager. I had some serious issues that followed me into adulthood. So somehow I found myself becoming a teacher. I didn't plan on it. I know that I was always like the Pied Piper, even as a kid. Younger kids would follow me. Any of you had that experience? Some of you did. You kids were always looking up to you. Raise your hand if that happened to you. Come on, raise them high. They probably did. You just weren't aware of it. Because otherwise, how did you find yourself here? You know what I mean? Have you asked yourself that question? Why am I a teacher? do I really want to be a teacher? Or am I just doing it for the summers off? 'Cause some people do it for that. Now, none of you, that's not you. So, anyway. So, I took all the kids that no one wanted. So, of course, we had kids in there who did not like learning. They lacked motivation. They didn't want to learn. They didn't like school. They had a bad attitude about teachers. They did. And they didn't learn well. Their skills were low. And so I wanted to reach them. I wanted to feel masterful. You want to feel masterful. You may not know it, but you want to feel masterful in your job when you go in and teach. At the end of the day, you want to feel like you mastered what you started out to do. Raise your hand if that's important to you. I'm going to show you how to get that easier. Can I get an amen? Amen. Yeah. I drove all the way from San Ramon. Y'all better give me some money. By the way I teach you, go teach your, I'm a model how to teach so the kids will want to learn what you have to teach. See, because if they don't want to learn it, nothing you do will work as well as you want it to. You already know that. So because I had all these kids in here who, had all these blocks, I began to study the mind and the brain because I wanted to reach them. So that was over 35 years ago. Don't ask me how young I am. And so I began to study it and apply it. So they were my guinea pigs. I'd go and study something and I'd go in the classroom and go, boom! And then I'd sit back and watch and it would work like 50%. And then I would go, by the way, no one strategy works 100%. Right. You know that, right? Right. Nothing's going to work 100%. That's why it's important for teachers to have a lot of tools in their toolbox. Because if one doesn't work, then you say, okay, bam, And then you go, 75%. Tweak it, boom, 80%. That's how you do it. So don't feel discouraged when you go try something and it doesn't work all the way. Look for how much progress you got because you got progress. Recognize the progress that you get. Because if you don't recognize the progress that you get, your subconscious will think you don't appreciate it and you won't get more. Did you know that? Let me prove it. Come here. We'll do this here. That way you don't have to walk over here. Okay, so you right-handed or left-handed? Right-handed. Okay, and by the way, do you mind being on camera?
No.
All right, you're cute. So. Okay, so the mind and the body are connected. The mind and the body are connected. Do it with me and say it with me.
The mind and the body are connected.
Say it again.
The mind and the body are
One
connected.
more time.
The mind and the body are connected.
So that anytime something happens up here, you instantly have a physiological effect, whether you're aware of it or not. How many of you already knew that? That's why when you say, ooh, he's such a pain in the neck, you wake up with a stiff, painful neck. Because, whatever you think, whatever you say, your body instantly responds. So let's prove that. All right? So I want you to put your arm up and make it nice and strong. I'm going to press down. Make it nice and strong. Make yourself strong. You're going to resist. Okay, resist. Okay. If the subconscious thinks the answer, if it thinks that something is positive, he'll stay strong. If there's something negative, he'll go weak. He won't be able to help himself. So let's prove that. Say the word positive.
Positive.
Resist. Say the word negative.
Negative.
Resist.
Oh.
It wasn't me. Did you know that?
No.
Anytime you say a negative word, you weaken yourself.
Ooh.
I know. We rubbing the back of your head like, wow. Now, here's something else. Because the mind and the body are connected, and because your words are so powerful, you're not only going to have a physiological effect, you're going to affect other people with your words. Ooh, did you know that?
Yeah.
Come here. Why ain't I sitting in front of the class? Because you get to lead first. Everybody who sat in the back, they're going to stay after school. So there, all of you who wanted to sit in the back. Are you right-handed or left-handed?
Right.
Okay, so stand right here. Now, your words are powerful. Watch what you say. Make sure that whatever you say, speak as positively as possible. Speak what you want and not what you have. Because if you don't, you'll create more of what you don't want. All right, so I'm going to teach you a little secret.